In this video, I'm going to be sharing ways that you can bring brand awareness to your brand. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Rudo Dube, and here I share tips and tricks on how to build, market, and scale your online products or services. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you subscribe, turn on that notification button so that you don't miss any of the videos where I share tips and tricks on how to grow your business. And if you like this content, make sure you like it and comment below. So let's get into it. So if you're new into business and if you have a new brand, a new business, you know how hard it is to bring up brand awareness to your products, right? And because of that reason, that's why most businesses never succeed. They never go past the first year of business or even the second year of business because the struggle is real when it comes to bringing that brand awareness, right? So for most businesses or for most new businesses, for whatever reason, they really struggle in bringing that brand awareness, right? And some of the time it's just not knowing how to do so, or something which is holding you back from doing what you're supposed to do to bring that all those eyeballs to your products and services to know that you exist. So most brands are almost like the best secret, right? People, because you're not sharing it, if you're not coming out, if you're not letting people know that you exist, right, you become that best kept secret. But you can't be a best kept secret when it comes to business, when it comes to your brand, because you're not selling your products to yourself. You're not going to be the one who's buying them. You need other people to buy them for you to be in business, right? So you can't keep your business as a secret. You need to bring that visibility to your brand. You need to bring that awareness so that people know that you exist. So the first thing you need to do before you go out there and bring that all wonderful awareness to your brand, you first need to have a well-defined brand. You need to have your whole brand all set up, all ready to receive all that awareness, right? All the traffic which is going to be coming to you. So you have to make sure that your brand is a good brand. It's all set up. You know who's your audience. You have your whole brand all cohesive and consistent throughout, right? On all platforms so that people don't get confused. So wherever you're going to be doing your brand awareness, you make sure that your branding is all consistent there. So make sure that your brand is all ready for that traffic which is going to be coming your way, right? Or that awareness which is going to be coming your way. So you have to make sure that you really have all that all ready before you start doing all these things I'm going to be sharing with you. So when you have your brand all ready to receive all this awareness, you have to make sure that you're really clear of who is your audience, right? You have to know who's going to be your ideal customers. What do they want? What are the problems that you're solving with your products or services, right? And get to really understand them, what they like, how they talk, what kind of language would they understand, right? What are the things which excites them, which moves them, right? Are they into trendy things? Are they into like millennial stuff, right? Who is that audience of yours that you want to attract, right? That you want them to know that you exist with your brand. So that's your first step. You have to be really clear on that. So when you're really clear on your audience, the first thing that you can now do now is to make sure that your messaging that you're using about your brand speaks to your ideal clients and it speaks to your own brand. It brings out that message of what your brand is all about to educate your ideal customers of who you are, what your brand is all about, right? Because the main purpose of brand awareness is to communicate to your audience, right, about who you are and what you have to offer and how you can help them, right? So that's why you have to do brand awareness to get your audience to really understand those aspects, right? So when you're making that messaging, make sure that it ties into that so that they get to know who you are, what's your offer, and how you can help them. So you can communicate this message through your ad copy, through your websites, through your content that you're sharing, right? But you have to be clear on that message that you want your audience to really understand. So you have to do that part. So as you do that, you have to make sure that you are unique. You're using your own unique voice, your own personality, right? So that you can stand out from the competitors. You have to have uh, your own input, your own kind of personality with your brand, right? So that it stands out. It doesn't become like every other brand which is out there. So you have to make sure you have that uniqueness in you and embrace it, right? And be unique. And speaking of that unique, right, you have to also have your own perspective of things, right? Have your own voice, have your own opinions of what you stand for, right? So don't just be the same as everyone else. Have something that you stand for which is different from other people, right? So you have to your own unique perspective of how you view things and all the stuff, right? So that helps you to have that your own unique voice and your own unique presence in the market. So make sure you also consider that as well. So by doing that, you're also bringing that brand awareness, right? Because people will be like, oh, I like this brand. This is different. It's got a different view of things, right? They have a different perspective of things. So this is interesting how they view things this way, right? Whichever way you choose to be different in terms of what you stand for, right? So that actually helps to bring that brand awareness because you're not going to be just floating in the same sea as every other brand out there, right? Saying the same thing as everyone else is doing, right? So when you have that own voice and own perspective, you end up standing out because you become more unique, right? Because that's what you want to do when it comes to brand awareness. You have to have that uniqueness so that people be like, oh, this is different, right? It attracts them, it catches their attention, right? Because that's what you are all doing when it comes to brand awareness. You want that attention of your ideal customers, right? When you really know who they are, right? You're just speaking their language. So you have to make sure that you have something that you stand for, have your own perspective of things, right? And not just do what everyone else is doing. That way you'll be able to stand out and get that brand awareness. So with all this, the other thing you have to do is to make sure you're showing up where your ideal customer are, where they're spending most of their time at. So when you have done that work to know you who is your ideal client, you know where they hang out on, right? So that's where you need to go and be in front of them. You have to now create your own presence in those areas where they spend most of the time in. If it's Facebook, go there and create a Facebook page so that you're in front of them. If it's Instagram, you go there and be there, show your presence in there as well to bring that brand awareness to say, hey, you exist there. So you have to be where your customer are. If they're on TikTok, go on TikTok, create your presence over there, then connect with them over there so that they know that you exist. So you have to do that. When you do your research of who is your ideal client, know where they hang out with, and that's where you need to be and put yourself in front of them so that they can easily find you, right, and bring that brand awareness to yourself. So now that you have created your presence in those places where your ideal customers hang out most of the time at, there you need to now create valuable content that you need to be sharing on those platforms. It has to be really valuable information because you want to be giving value to your ideal customers. So you have to be giving value, solving their problems, giving them information so that they get to know you, get to build that relationship with them, get to build that trust with them, right? So that they know and like you, right? Because when it comes to business, your ideal customers need to feel comfortable, need to know you, know the products, know what you have to offer, get to like you, get to like that perspective that you're sharing, right? How you are different with all those other people, get to know your voice and loving that, right? So you have to communicate all that through creating valuable content when you go to those platforms where they spend most of their time. So make sure you're sharing valuable content on those platforms. So speaking of that valuable content, you can also present that valuable content in forms of a shareable content. Because when you create content which is really good that your ideal clients want to share, that helps to bring even more brand awareness, right? Because now they're sharing it with their friends, their families, and all this stuff, right? So nowadays, if you were to look at platforms like Instagram, I love Instagram. They have lots of things which have been working for people, right, to bring that brand awareness. You have the carousels. So with carousels, those are the posts where you have multiple posts in one post. So you have like people can just swipe to the left. Yeah, so some people can swipe to the left, right? So you might have like 10 posts in the one carousel, right? Where you can now share your valuable information in that carousel, right? Teaching them about something, solving a problem, right? In that carousel. So when you do that, it brings so much value to your customers or do clients that they really enjoy it and want to share it with other people, right? Even if you're educating them on how you use your product, right? Do it in a funny way, someone which is more catchy and attracts their attention, right? So that they feel like like, oh, this is really interesting, and they'll feel like they need to share it with other people, right? And that way it brings more brand awareness to your business and to your products, right? So make sure you're sharing those shareable content. You can also use reels on Instagram, because Instagram right now is really pushing out those reels, right? So you can use those, make them more entertaining, engaging, right? In a way that people will actually like, oh, enjoy them and be able to share it with other people, right? So make sure they're shareable content that you're sharing on those platforms where your ideal clients hang out with. That way it brings more brand awareness, right? Because the more they share with their friends, that's more new eyeballs onto your products and services, right? So you can do that. Even on other platforms like TikToks, that's depending with who's your ideal client, right? You can use TikToks, make them entertaining, engaging, right? So that you can get them to share with other people those TikToks, right? And this is how people end up having very quickly growing their brands on those platforms, right? Because they're using those shareable content to just blow up, right, on those platforms and become that viral kind of content, right? So you have to make sure that the content you're creating is shareable and valuable. So another thing that you can do in the lines of content is to create content which is searchable. So we're talking about content which is shareable. Now we're talking about content which is searchable. So think of it. When people have a question about something, right? Where do they usually go, right? They go on Google. I go on Google. Or they go on YouTube, right? And search it out and say, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Or what can help me with this, whatever problem they have, right? So now what you have to do, you have to create content which is searchable. So think of the problems that your ideal clients are going through and now create content which answers or which solves those problems that they are going through. And also using those search terms that they use to search it as keywords, right? That way your content will be able to pop up on Google when they search for whatever solution they're looking for the problem that they have, right? So even if it's on YouTube as well, the same principle work, right? Because most people nowadays, they also use YouTube as a search engine, because YouTube is the second biggest search engine, right? And it's owned by Google, so of course it makes sense, right? So you use the same kind of principle of creating content which solves a problem that your ideal customer is having, and you're providing that solution, right? So that when they enter in and they're looking for whatever they're looking for in terms of solutions to their problem, you pop up with your own content which solves their problems. So that way it brings that awareness of you being the brand which solves that problem that they have, right? And being there for them, being sharing that valuable information, right? It helps to build that know, like, and trust factor again, right? So, and also that brings that brand awareness to you. So make sure you also consider that to bring that brand awareness in your business. So create that searchable content. And another powerful way of bringing brand awareness is to do collaboration with other people. So this is really powerful because now you're leveraging someone else's audience as well. So it has to be with someone who has the similar audience to the one who is your ideal clients, right? Then you can partner up with them. You can do like cooperation, doing like live videos, right, where you can do it together. That way you'll be tapping into their audience, right? And that also brings that brand awareness to yourself, to their audience, who are also going to be your ideal clients. Right? So make sure that to the people you choose to collaborate with, their audience is also the audience of your ideal clients, right? So you can't just go and do a collaboration with someone who has the audience which is not your kind of ideal client, right? That way it's not gonna give you the same results, because you are looking to look for people to grow your business, right? You're looking to look for those ideal clients for your own business, right? So you have to make sure that you share the same kind of ideal clients. That way you'll be able to benefit with that, getting that brand awareness for your business. So that's a very powerful thing, to do that collaboration with others, right? So in the same line with collaboration, you can also consider using people with the influence, right? Like influencers to promote your products and services, right? So you partner up with them. It's either you provide them with free products of your own products, right? To share to them so that they can share it with their audience. Or you can pay for them to post your content. You post about your products on their platforms, right? So that also really helps to bring that brand awareness to your own brand, right? So this one is very powerful because now you're tapping into that influencers audience, right? And they have that influence on those audience, so they'll be able to encourage them to take an action, right? Whether it's to encourage them to come and follow you, or whether it's to encourage them to come and buy your products, right? So this is really, really powerful. So don't sleep on this. So make sure you consider that as well as a way to bring that brand awareness to your business and products and services. Another way you can bring a brand awareness to tie into the last one, which is using influencers, you can also use what we call the brand ambassadors, or use like loyalty programs, right? Where you can tap into people who have already bought your products before and give them some form of incentive for them to share about their products, how they liked it, right? So that way you can actually tap into their audience, their family and friends, where they're going to be sharing about your products and services. So that's something you can also include in your strategy in terms of bringing more awareness to your business, right? To use your own current audience already, your own current customers, to share with their friends and families about your products and services, and bring that brand awareness to their family and friends as well. You can also consider doing things like giveaways, right? That actually helps to bring that brand awareness, right? So with giveaways, you can say, okay, I'm giving away whatever you want to give, right? Then you have to give some form of conditions for people to join that giveaway, right? It's either they have to like your page, follow your page, tag a friend or friends for them to be even to qualify for that giveaway, right? So that can actually be really, really powerful and actually bring that brand awareness to you. Because who doesn't like giveaways? Who doesn't like free things, right? So it helps to bring that brand awareness to your business. So that's something you can also consider to do in your business. So I got more tips for you of how you can bring your brand awareness. So the next thing you can also consider is to be a guest on a podcast. Yes, that's still a thing. That's really powerful thing where you can also again leverage someone else's audience. So by being a guest on a podcast, you're leveraging that guest audience and then bringing more awareness to your own products and services by being on that show, right? So I know most people will be thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to get into a podcast, right? So there's so many people who are looking for guests. So they're always looking for guests for their podcast. So you just have to reach out to some podcast you know in your industry, right? Someone you share, of course, the same kind of audience, right? That way you can then reach out to them and say you want to come on your podcast, and then you become a guest on them, and that brings your awareness to your business and to your products and services by being a guest on that show. And better yet, the other thing you can consider is to for you to create your own podcast, right? Why not? Might as well. So you can create your own podcast, and that will really help you if you're just starting out, right? It gives you that form of authority, right? Because if you're the host of the podcast, you have more control over it, right? So, and also people, when they start seeing you, it's already giving you that authority, right? And it's so easy to also get guests on your platform, because they're going to be people who are like you going on other people's podcasts to get a brand awareness too. So they're going to be other people who also want brand awareness that you can partner up with, right? And then they can be guests on your show, and then you can, all both can benefit from that, right? And you can both have that brand awareness on sharing each other's audiences, right? So why not? So that's something you can consider in terms of bringing that brand awareness to actually you hosting your own podcast and bringing that brand awareness to your own business as well. So that's something you can consider. And if you're not into podcasts, maybe you like to write, you could consider to do a guest blog post, right? So a guest writer of some sort, right? So you can write on platforms like Medium. So if that's something that you like to do instead of doing a podcast, you can just write a blog or any post, right, and share it out there. right? Instead of doing a podcast and do the same thing, you're doing a guest write on someone else's blog. So you're tapping into their audience and bringing that awareness to yourself and your products, right? Sharing your knowledge and solving people's problems and giving them the solution, which could be your product or your service. Right? So that's another way that you can bring awareness to your brand or services. So this next one, this next tip of how to bring brand awareness. So this one is you could consider to do paid advertisement. So with this one, I'll give you a caution. If you don't know how to do ads, don't just rush in and do this because you're gonna lose so much money. I see so many people and with ads, it's not the answer for everything, right? So if you don't know who your ideal client is, your ads are not going to work because you need to know how to target properly. So consider doing ads if you know how to do ads, or if you don't, learn how to do ads. If you don't have that skill, if you don't have that patience to learn that, then hire someone who can do it for you and make sure they know what they're doing when it comes to running ads. But this is a very powerful way of bringing brand awareness. So with ads, this is like putting all these other strategies I talked about on a steroid. Because if you know how to run ads, you can bring that attention to your business really quickly and less effort compared to some of those strategies that I already shared, right? Some of them do take some time to work on, right? So consider that's another thing to consider, the running ads, right? So, but also consider those cautionary things that I mentioned, right? To make sure that you just don't jump in without being prepared for it. Because it's really, really powerful when you really know how to do it to bring your brand awareness using ads. So if you don't have money to do ads, you can leverage groups. Yes, there's two things like groups. You can go like on Facebook, search groups which are in your niche or your niche in your area, right? And see uh which groups you can join, right? And make sure it's good groups, right? So you can join a few groups that you can go in there, be engaging with other people in the group, building those relationship, being someone who's bringing value. Don't just be going there to just self-promote yourself all the time, right? You'll be kicked out very fast. So make sure you're going there to share information, to be someone of value, right? So if someone is got a question in there, answer that question, provide some value. That way it ends up making you seem like someone with authority, right? Someone who knows what they're doing or who knows how to solve their problems, right? And with that, in turn, they'll be curious because people are always curious. People are curious. They'll check you out. And then you have to make sure that you're on your own platform, on your own Facebook. You're talking about what you do, right? Your messaging, you have it all there about who you are, what you offer, and how you can help them, right? And that way you'll be able to attract your ideal customers that way. But that's a long process, but it's very powerful if you're done right, depending on what you're offering, right? Especially for service-based business owners, this is a very powerful thing for you that you can do if you don't have that much money to be doing Facebook ads, right? If you don't know how to do Facebook ads and all that. So that's something that you can consider to leverage groups. So you can go in there, make sure you're keeping to the rules of the groups before you get kicked out. And then you'll be able to bring that brand awareness for you because people start seeing you as an authority, right? Someone who knows what they're doing, what they're talking about, right? When you're sharing all that information. And the other thing you can do in lines of the group is to actually utilize forums, right? There's two things. You have Reddit, you can do that. You can go to Quora. Is it even a forum? But even answer and question places like those things, you can also go to those platforms and be answering people's questions, right? There's always lots of questions there. So you can go there and answer those questions, providing value. That way it brings that brand awareness to who you are and what you offer, right? So make sure you're not just self-promoting yourself. Make sure you're giving value. Those the whole principle when it comes to brand awareness. You're doing this to bring value to people so that you get that awareness. They know that you exist, right? They see that you are someone who is there to solve their problems, right? So if you have a product, when it comes to just marketing the products, they're already aware of who you are and they'll be easily to just jump there, right? Because you've already built that relationship with them, right? Because you've been engaging with them, because that's part of building that awareness. You have to engage with them and you have to be consistent. You have to always do this. You have to be consistent, because this is really, really important when you're building a brand, right? Because this is not a one-time thing that you do. You have to be consistent with what you're doing, with all these activities that you're doing to bring that brand awareness to yourself. These days, there's so many brands out there, right, who are probably doing the same thing that you're doing. They're selling the same product as you are doing, right? But you have to consistently be showing up, right? That way you're building those relationships, engaging with your customers or with your audiences, right? And building those relationships with them so that you stay on top of mind for them, so that when they are ready to buy, you're the first person they think of. They think of your brand first, right? Because you've done all this work. So when you're wanting to build your brand awareness, pick a couple of these strategies that are shared with you, right, on how to build that brand awareness, and just pick a of them and work on those, right? You don't have to do all of them. You just pick a few that you feel comfortable with, that you know you're gonna stick with and be consistent with, right? And then really work on those and stay consistent with those, so that you can bring that brand awareness to your business. And as you grow, you can then adventure to other things as well to build even more further brand awareness to your business, right? But the key thing I want to hammer on to you is to make sure that you stay consistent. You do this, it's gonna take time. Building a brand is not overnight. It takes time, it takes a lot of work, but you have to be patient and be consistent, and don't give up. Just keep on doing it, right? Rinse and repeat. Before you know it, you have built a big brand for yourself, because you've brought all this brand awareness to yourself. But it starts off with you actually taking action and actually doing the work. All right. So if you have any questions of how you can build any brand awareness, or questions about what I've shared, feel free to leave any comments below. I'm here to help you out. I'm always in the comments. I always check. And if not, you can always connect with me on Instagram at limitless_1. My DMs are always open. I'm here to help you with that. So I've covered a lot of tips with you on how to bring brand awareness. So you can't use that as an excuse anymore. You can bring a brand awareness for yourself. So I hope you found all these tips useful and you liked this video. So make sure you share with your business besties so that they can also bring some brand awareness to their businesses as well. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification button so that you don't miss any other videos like this, where I share tips and tricks on how to build, market, and scale your online business. So for now, stay strong, stay positive, and continue building the business that you love. And I'll see you next time, guys. Take care. Bye.